Okay, welcome to my shop, and today we're looking at this Windsor tube radio. I'm not familiar with the Windsor brand. It's a Canadian radio for sure, and let's see, it's model 2851, and the tubes complements are 12SA7, 35Z, 50L6, GT, what's that, a 12SQ7, 12SK7. So it is 12 volt tubes, but they're earlier 12 volt tubes. So I'm going to guess that this is somewhere around, could even be like 1949, but it's probably more like 1950 or 51. So, but we'll take a look at it. We'll see if we can track down a schematic online, although I'm not optimistic because it's not all that common a brand. Looks like this one was sitting in someone's office for a while, or in his office, somebody's workspace for a while. And what is this? Well, we'll take her apart and we'll see what we're dealing with. Well, the first thing we see is that this is very, very dusty inside, but looks like it's not, otherwise not in bad condition. Anyhow, let's get the chassis out and clean it up. Here it is. Well, all the tubes are there. Whether they work or not, we'll find out. We'll have to see how the condition of the speaker in a moment. It's got a lot of mold and crap. The antenna is not too bad shape, and of course the cord is shot. We'll have to replace that. So the first thing we'll do is take out some of these tubes, clean them up a little bit, and test them just for fun. Then we'll take a look at the bottom and see what we're dealing with. Well, not surprisingly, I wasn't able to find a schematic, although I see it's manufactured by Electrical Products Manufacturing Company Limited, Montreal. So I didn't search under that, so we'll search there and see if we can find anything. What can we tell about it? Well, it's an All-American 5, your standard 5-tube radio. Couple things, the IF cans have 1948 patent codes on it, so we know it's probably around a little after that for sure. And maybe the 51 means in the model number means that it's a 1951. Possible. I don't see a date code on this can, but maybe I'm not looking hard enough. Anyhow, so no schematic. Shouldn't be too difficult though. It's very simple design, extremely simple, and hopefully we can read the values off of these capacitors and replace them. Oh, you know what? I wonder whether that's... Oh, of course. That wiring's not original. Can't imagine. Look at it. So it has been rewired, I think. Anyhow, we'll find out. So I've discovered on this capacitor here a date code of September 1949. So that dates it even more precisely. So we are probably looking at 1950 or so. So I've identified all of the capacitor values. Incredibly, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 capacitors in this entire radio. That includes the smaller value capacitors. So this is and that's not including the electrolytic, of course. That's incredible. I mean, this is really, really cut back on what you even typically see in an A5. So a typical All-American 5 will typically have more than that. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing sounds once we put it all back together again. But anyhow, there we go. So if you can see here, there is a tiny little, here's my little pointy stick. There's a tiny little hole right there in the speaker. So we'll have to glue that up before we try this sucker. Okay, so we are going to start by testing the tubes, and I'm going to start with the rectifier, which is the 35Z5, the first tube in this series string, and the tubes are in series in this radio, which means this one tends to blow first. So it's a rectifier. I've got everything set up for it, and we will give it a test now. Just one moment. Okay, so it's a diode, so there's not a lot to test, but we're going to start for looking for leaks here, and that's okay. And then this one will jump there. We're just going to go like that, and that's fine. So no leaks, that's good. Let's test the strength of it. Good, so it tested about a 121, so that's excellent. So nothing wrong with that tube at all. We can certainly use that. I'll test the other tubes, and then we'll move on to the next step. Here's the result of our testing. The rectifier is great. 12SA7 is very strong. The 12SK7 is kind of borderline, but certainly usable. The 12SQ7 has a leak at around 1 meg, and part of the triode is very weak, 29. So I'll look to see if I have a replacement for that. The 50L6 110 is great. So most of these tubes are good. One tube we might want to try to replace. So the question is, do I have a spare 12SQ7? That's the one that's leaking. And I do. We'll check that one in a minute. 12SA7, 12SA7, 12SK7. SA7. All right, well, let's, this one. 1286. Okay, so let's check this one. I can open it with one hand. It's a glass tube one, 116, 131. Oh, well, it's better than the other one, so it's not perfect, but we will try it out. Okay, so we've cut off the old cord, and we will be replacing it with this from the dollar store. So through the magic of video, let's make that happen. So I've replaced 5 out of 8 of the capacitors in there. And okay, so we're doing an alignment now. I have a signal generator at 455 Hertz, generating a modulated signal. And my multimeter is hooked up to the output. And that signal generator is hooked up to the antenna. We're going to start with that, and we'll adjust the IF cans and see whether we can increase that number. Yeah, that's about as far as we're going with that one. Okay, now we'll keep going. Try with the other. Well, the cabinet's going to need a little more cleaning, but I think we got her working. Or maybe not.
Listen to KHJ on iHeartRadio. A free download at the App Store and streaming at iHeartRadio.ca.
Country version of the old classic. Red Rider.
Like a road that you travel on, there's one day here and the next day gone. So